Well, hello everyone. This is Eric Lamar, your host of A Whole New Me. And today we have a very special interview. Again, I want to welcome you and thank you for following the transformation, following my situation, but yet inspiring others. This is what A Whole New Me is all about. We are finding amazing people that have had challenges in life and issues that they've been able to overcome. Today, I'm sitting in the home of the president of an amazing company, an individual, her name is Carol Gill, that has helped thousands of people transform their businesses and their lives. But she has an amazing story. Carol, thank you for letting me into your home today, inviting me in, and sharing your personal story of overcoming challenges that most people will look at you today and think this lady has everything her way.
Yeah, I wish. But thank you. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here.
I'm glad because, the other day we had a phone conversation and you said some things to me. You reached out because you're seeing the personal journey that I'm going through.
Right.
And you reached out and you said, I respect what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I know you probably have a system and a program, but let me share something with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I welcome that. So thank you for opening up. I want you to just kind of talk about you for a moment.
Okay. Where would you like me to start?
You were telling me that life was going your way, but there were some challenges.
Yes, there were definitely some challenges. So, I've gone through lots of trials and tribulations in my lifetime. And I think that the biggest transformation for me started back in the early 2000s when I was going through a lot of change, and I had my father living with me and two young boys, and I was under a lot of stress with my business and just continued to gain weight. And a lot of it was stress eating kinds of things, but I'd been challenged with my weight for many years on and off, and just finally decided when my youngest son said, Mom, I'm going to have a baby, that I wanted to be able to get on the floor with my grandson.
So you're looking at a picture. This was you?
That was me in 2005. I was at an actual business event. I was exhibiting some of the things that I use in my business. And yes, that was a proud picture of me at 200 pounds. And that's when I quit weighing myself.
Stop weighing yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. And I looked at that picture and I said, okay, that is not who I am. That's not who I want to be. And
How
when I
did you
found out
feel?
my grandchildren were being born, I wanted to really lose the weight. But
okay, so you found out your son was having a child. So grandchildren on the way. Did you have any grandchildren at the time? Or
No.
This was the first one.
This was the first one.
Okay.
And like I said, I had my dad with me, and he was not doing well. Ended up having to put him in a rehabilitation center. And at that point, I decided that it was time for me to start taking care of myself better than I had been. So I was able to lose 70 pounds. And the picture that you see there was basically what I was able to manage over a period of about 7 years. I lost it and I kept it off.
All right. So this is her now, down 70 pounds. Amazing. You look wonderful.
Well, thank you very much. I've had lots of people tell me you look 10 years younger. It's kind of nice to be older but yet 10 years younger. So, and I felt better. I mean, I just physically felt better. It was easier to go buy clothes. I felt good when I woke up in the morning. I was able to sleep well because I was eating the right foods, and it just was good.
So that's a wonderful feeling. And that's one of the things that, again, personally, what inspired me to just start A Whole New Me is because I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
I have left knee pain. I can only take so many stairs. I mean, I still lead a very active life, but I'm a public speaker, and I just personally don't like getting in front of people. I mean, I'll do it, and I can do it with the best of them.
Yeah.
But it's that subconscious thought in the back of my mind. It's like, man, what are people thinking? What are they really thinking out there?
Right.
Me up here and talking about all this, but can they even concentrate on this with all of this?
Right. And it's a challenge. It really is,
Yeah.
especially, with some of the things that I focus in on is interpersonal growth and helping people make better choices. So how can I tell people to make better choices if I'm not making better choices for myself? And so it was always that kind of, Jekyll Hyde mentality in my head. You're saying one thing, you're doing something different, and that's not okay.
So you were telling me though, there was some, you had some additional struggles.
Yes, I did.
Along the way.
Yeah, life was really going well. My business was doing extremely well. Unfortunately, my dad had passed away. So that was a challenge to get through. But the good news was I was in a much better place than I had been 10 years before. And mentally and emotionally and physically, all of those things. And then I was told that I had an abnormal mammogram, and we weren't quite sure what it was. Don't think it's cancer. You could wait another 6 months, or you can have, a biopsy and see what it is.
Have a check. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that says, okay, if something's not right, I'm not going to wait 6 months and see what happens. It's just not what I'm going to do. So I went through the process, and it was very, very frightening. I will say that. On the other side of that, when the diagnosis came back of the biopsies, I was diagnosed with, excuse me, breast cancer.
Wow.
Both breasts. And we were
But they said you could wait 6 months.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the radiologist,
Okay.
excuse me, the radiology report said, yeah, just wait 6 months and come back and we'll do another mammogram and see if anything's changed. So a message that I have for women everywhere is don't ever do that. Because had I not gone through the biopsies and gotten the results that at that point in time, if I'd have waited 6 months, I would have been in a very different position. I would have been in what they call stage 1 or stage 2. As a result of when they caught it, I was considered stage 0, which I didn't even know there was such a thing. But it was called ductal carcinoma in situ.
That sounds like a lot better.
It was much better. It was so much better. But the thing is, when somebody says to you, you have cancer, the immediate response system is, I'm dying. And that I kind of had to wait. I knew that there was something in the biopsies that said cancer. They called me on a Monday and told me that, but the doctor was out of town. So I didn't find out until Thursday morning what that actually meant. And so I had 3 days of not knowing what that really meant for me. And I was afraid to tell my boys because I didn't want to worry them. And I was falling apart inside because I didn't tell anybody.
Imagine.
So when I walked into the doctor's office that morning, I said, before she even opened her mouth, I said, I don't want to hear anything you have to say until you tell me I'm not going to die. And then I just burst into tears because I'd been holding it in for 3 days. And wonderful doctor, Donna Bridge in Brandon, and she sat with me for 2 hours that morning and told me what my options were. And she said, you're absolutely not going to die. Behind door number 1, we have, we can do lumpectomies, which is really a misnomer because there were no lumps. There was just spots. But that means they take where they see the cancer and where they see the cancer cells in a clean area. And if I went that route, I would have to have mammograms every 6 months. The return rate was a potential 20 to 25%. And if it did return, I'd have to go through a full mastectomy. And I would have to, if I went that route, take radiation, regardless, 5 days a week for 5 weeks in both breasts. Door number 2, we just take everything and rebuild. Because if we take all the cancer tissue out, all the breast tissue out, then as long as the lymph nodes are clean, then there's a high probability you won't have to have chemo, you won't have to have radiation. And the return rate is 2%. So at 55 years old, after I saw everything that I was looking at, it's like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Take it. I want to live.
2%.
Yeah, versus 25% and have to go through it anyway. And I said, no. I said, just take it. Well, you make that decision in a split second. Once your head gets around all of the different pieces that potentially you could be dealing with. So I'm sitting there in her office and I said, okay, I mean, maybe I'm simplifying this, but as far as I'm concerned, I want to live for a long time. So get rid of it and rebuild it. I mean, why would I not do that? And so we had that conversation. So that was my choice. And so that was in May, early May, and I had the surgery in June, double mastectomy. And I had reconstruction from my belly, which was kind of interesting. So if anybody wants to know about that, I'd be happy to share. But yeah, that's part two. But you know, as I went through this whole thing, I'm saying to myself, you can survive this. You know, I finally came home, I told my kids and my significant other and a few of my very close friends, but I really didn't share because I was concerned about what that would do to my business, being self-employed. You know, if people knew, would they not want to do business with me right now because they were worried about me? I mean, that was really what I was concerned about. So I just didn't announce it to the world. And it wasn't because I didn't want people to know. I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. That was big for me. So I went through, and I really expected in 6 months I'd be back to normal because I've come through stuff before and I've been fine. And little did I know, that first surgery I was out for 11 hours, and I learned after the surgery that for every hour you're out, it's at least 1 month to 2 months of recovery time because of the anesthesia and what it does to your body. Yeah.
You thought 6 months. No, we're talking.
No, yeah. And ultimately it was 18 months.
18 months.
And that's where the weight came back.
So you had lost the 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Then developed the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, how much weight came back during that 18 months?
Well, during 12 of those months, I went through a lot of different gyrations because my physical body was healing, but the chemical components of my body, the adrenal glands, the whole process internally was changing. And part of that was because of my age, okay, menopausal, but part of it was just the change in the whole process of having this, you know, they moved a muscle, they did all kinds of things inside of me, and my body wasn't working right. So I went through a lot of different things. I went through natural medicine. I was taking supplements. They told me my adrenal glands were shut down. My liver wasn't functioning properly. And, you know, different doctors are going to tell you different things based on what their focus is in the world. And at one point, I was gaining 2 pounds a month, okay, 2 to 3 pounds a month. And I was eating right. I was doing all of the things that I had done before. I was trying to get back on my exercise routine, and nothing was working. And worse than that, not only was I gaining, but I was feeling awful. My joints ached. My whole body just felt like it was swollen. And at one point I was taking 40 different supplements, not drugs, supplements, you know.
You know, when we had this conversation, I mean, you were sharing some of this with me. This is what really caught my attention, is because you said, I was doing all the things that my doctors,
my fitness people,
nutritionists, your coaches,
everybody.
And part of why I was really interested in talking with you is because there are those of us who, like myself, I don't consider that I eat abnormal. Mm-hmm. And I don't eat huge portions. I know that I'm supposed to eat smaller portions multiple times of the day.
Right.
I won't say that I've never had huge portions, and there are times that I will have huge portions, but I know that I could do better in my eating habits. Mm-hmm. But you inspired me because you said I was doing all the right things. Yeah. And those of you that are watching and listening, please share this video, share this story, because there are those, just because they look different than what everyone else looks like.
It's not because you're doing something wrong.
It's not because they're bad people.
Yeah.
It's not because they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
They could be doing everything their doctor's telling them and feeling the frustrations you were feeling.
And that, I think that was the biggest challenge for me through this whole process, Eric, was listening to these professionals telling me, you know, drink coconut milk, use almond, you know, it's a healthy fat, it's a healthy protein. These are the foods that you want to stay away from. These are the foods that you want to eat. So I was doing all of that. And yet, you know, with the protein shake in the morning, I was using almond milk and avocado and blueberry, and it was high protein, low fat, low carb. Lunch, I'd do salads with vinegar and oil, or even lemon juice. And dinner, fish. I ate a lot of tilapia, a lot of vegetables, love vegetables, you know, green vegetables. And yet I'm gaining weight and I'm feeling awful. And I drink 6 to 8 bottles of water a day. And I always have done that. I don't drink soda. I drink 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and I'm water the rest of the day. I do drink wine.
That sounds like a very, very healthy diet.
Yeah. So when I go to a doctor and they say there's nothing wrong with you, and I look at them and I say, okay, so why is this happening? I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And all I could see was that picture from 2005 in my head saying, that's where I'm headed. And at the 40-pound mark, where I had gained 40 pounds from the day of surgery, it's like, no, I've got to do something. And I had tried upper GI, lower GI, you know, gallbladder testing, the whole 9 yards. So it was thousands of dollars. And my doctor that I had found, who's an MD, but also a natural practitioner in some ways, said, okay, I have one more thing I want you to try. And I thought, okay, another hokey thing, smoke and mirrors, it's going to cost me a lot of money and it's not going to work. He said, no, he said, this is food sensitivity. He said, and I told him, I said, I've never had allergies to anything.
Wow.
He's not allergy, it's sensitivity. It's about how your body processes food. And you may be eating all of the right things from a nutritional perspective, but the reality is your body may not be processing that food the way it should. And if that's the case, you're just feeding poison into your system and don't even know it. So I said, okay, I'll try it. I was very skeptical. It cost me another $350. But they took blood in his office and submitted it into the lab. And 2 weeks later, I got a report that identified red foods, orange foods, yellow foods, and green foods. Basically, that's how you look at it. And these are things that you have a severe intolerance to, and it just kind of goes down, you know, the severity from there. And the green list, excuse me, is everything you can have that's free, right? It's not, doesn't have any effect on you as a negative at all. Well, when I started looking at the red list, it was coconut milk, almond, any almond product, any coconut product, tilapia, which I was eating 4 days a week. Anything with cocoa in it. I drank a chocolate protein drink at night before I went to bed because that was the right thing to do. Other things like vinegar. Well, there's vinegar in every salad you can eat. And, you know, of course, my dietitian said use oil and vinegar. So I was using oil and vinegar. So and there was a laundry list of a lot of other things. But it was things that I ate on a regular basis, healthy things. So I said, okay, I looked at this list, and in the orange and the yellow, there were some other things in there, but I really focused on the severe. And the biggest thing, there was a big note at the bottom of the report that said, you have a severe intolerance to gluten, wheat, rye, and I think it was barley, and I never ate barley anyway, but I said, okay, this is after my gastro guy had told me I don't have any gluten problem, right? So I'm looking at this big red note. So I just said, okay, I'm going to try this for a week. Because still skeptical in my head, okay? But I'm going to try this for a week.
I mean, you deserve to be skeptical. I mean, look at everything that you've had to go through.
So for the first week, I said, I'm going to commit to this 100%. I'm not going to cheat at all. In 3 days. 3 days, not only did I lose a pound, but I felt 100% better. I slept better. My joints stopped aching. And over a period of 2 months, just by eating the things on the green list and not eating the things on the red list, I mean, I was watching other intake, but I took all the white stuff out of my diet because white potato was on one of those things that I wasn't supposed to have. So white potato, all the bread products, the pasta, and I got rid of that, which I didn't eat a lot of it anyway. But it was the coconut, the almond, because I was doing that every day.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone tells you choose coconut oil over olive oil. Yeah. I've even heard that it resembles the benefits of what you get out of your mother's milk and so forth. I mean,
and for some people that that's true.
Yes.
But if your body isn't processing it right, guess what? You're just feeding poison. So when I stopped eating that stuff, I mean, seriously, within 2 months, I lost the 40 pounds. Yay!
That's what I'm talking about.
And I've been able to keep it off. So I am back to where I want to be.
So you eat off of your green list?
I eat off my green list every once in a while because they tell you after 6 months you can start adding the stuff back in. And I said, I don't miss it, so why do I need to add it? I don't want to get back in that place. So every once in a while I have a little piece of bread or something, but I just stay away from it. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat other kinds of fish and shellfish. I can have all the vegetables I want. There are certain fruits I can have, certain fruits I can't. And, I can eat beef and pork. So I'm good.
So when you share it, you didn't give me all the details, but because I held off. I was like, okay, I've heard enough. I want to sit down with you because I didn't want to ruin the moment.
Right.
You're sharing some things that has inspired me. So I have contacted this company you turned me on to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm getting myself scheduled to do this exact same testing, because if you saw the previous video that was put out the day before Labor Day, one of my messages is pulling together your team and then getting scientific evidence
Mm-hmm.
to help you create your plan.
Right.
So when you work with your nutritionist, you work with your physical personal trainer and your doctors and so forth, you can come off of a baseline that's what your body
Mm-hmm.
wants and can have,
Right.
and not someone's opinion. But because bless their hearts, our experts,
they mean well. They really do.
They truly do.
Yeah. And they're coming at it from a good place for certain people.
Right. But it's your body.
Right.
So if you've had a struggle or know a loved one or someone that has had a struggle, follow me. Send me the information. Send me your information, and I will make sure we get you the information out to how to be able to take this exam, because
Absolutely.
I think this is a great step to overcoming the problem. And you lost 40 pounds in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying you're going to lose 40 pounds.
No.
You might lose 60.
Right. Or you may only lose 20, but
lose 20.
It really depends on your own metabolism, your own body. But I think the key is you have to eat right. Okay. So I do eat a lot of protein, good solid protein. I keep the fat low. I don't eat a lot of carbs because that's just not good for me. Now, other people can eat very differently than that. So a nutritionist is important. But having this information along with that, knowing which foods are really doing you damage for you personally, you're not going to get that from a nutritionist. They don't have that knowledge. They don't have that information.
You've got to let the science labs do their thing.
Yeah.
So again, click on the link below, leave me your information, subscribe to the channel, follow what we're doing. Follow this young lady. Keep up with her. What's going on in her world?
Yeah.
You'll see her social connections in the description at the bottom of the video as well. I really thank you for allowing me to just sit down with you, share your story, because you look great.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you look absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And when you told me, look, let me just share something with you.
I just want you to know this.
I received that. It made so much sense to me because I've been concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Because for years, this has been a struggle for me, but I'm active. I golf, I hike, I walk,
Mm-hmm.
I do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Now I'm adding the personal training,
Mm-hmm.
Because I've gotten away from the regular gym activity, and that's something that really helps me.
Yeah.
But now I'm excited to get this test.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not looking to blame something,
No.
but I'm looking for answers to say, eat more of this,
Right.
and I'll go eat more of that.
Right. And less of this.
And less of this.
Right.
So,
And that's the key.
yeah, because I eat chicken. I love grilling. So my food is oftentimes just grilled.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to lay off the fried chicken.
Yeah, the
So
fried is not
I'm making a
good.
confession. We're getting away from the fried chicken.
But you should be able to do that once in a while.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
Yes, once in a while. She said it.
Once
She
in
gave
a
me
while.
permission.
Once in a while. But that's the thing. If chicken is one of those foods on your red list, even though it's healthy, it's not healthy for you right now. So who knows?
And I have to let it go.
Yeah.
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 And I will do that. I would absolutely do that. Well, again, thank you so much
You're very
for
welcome.
sharing your story, for being who you are, looking great, and inspiring others. So
Thank you, Eric.
this is Eric Lamar, your host. Again, I hope you've appreciated this interview. Please share this with others, and we'll continue to see you and follow you on your journey to becoming a whole new me.